Hey now, what's going on everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I'm here to talk about Gotham! The first episode of Season 2, Rise of the Villains. This episode is entitled, Damned If You Do. And the episode begins with, we see Bruce and Alfred right where the season finale left off, where they found what we thought or looked like to be the cave. They found an entryway and they went down there. Unfortunately, there is a password code to lock the door. And then that's really it. I mean, it jumps ahead a month. And throughout this whole episode, Bruce is basically hell-bent on wanting to open this. I don't blame him. And he decides to build a bomb with or without the help of Alfred. Luckily, Alfred decided to help him. And then by the end of the episode, they blew down the door to find not exactly a cave, but a cave-like room with a little monitor and a letter for Bruce. And the letter basically said, well, this is your destiny. And his father knew that he was going to die. He knew that he was involved with some shady stuff, and he basically is letting Bruce decide for himself what he wants to do. I very much like this. I did. I guess I'm going into this season trying to be a lot more optimistic. You could say that I was very negative on Season 1. Don't get me wrong, there was stuff about Season 1 that I liked a lot. There were episodes that I loved, but there was also a lot of things in it and a lot of episodes I didn't like. So it's not like I'm going to forgive everything. It's not like I'm going to, if I don't like something, I'm going to pretend like I like it. It's just I'm going to go into the season not with my nose up, not sort of quick to hate on something or quick to tear the show down. I'm going to try to go with this. And so far, with the Bruce Wayne stuff, I'm loving it. Let's talk now about Penguin and his gang. He's now the leader of the mob war. He won. There's no Falcone. There's no Fish Mooney. There's no Sal Maroni. They all rhyme. And Penguin is the leader of everything. And hell, at the very beginning, there's like a montage, and you see Victor Zsasz, who is kind of his right-hand man, shoot somebody in the head. This is like prime-time television on a network channel. And we just saw somebody get shot in the head. Later on, we see Zsasz with a decapitated head. I'm like, this is 8 o'clock. Like, how did they get away with this? Later on, we see that Selina Kyle is in his gang. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I get it. Selina Kyle is a character that goes back and forth, that will go back and forth, borderline on a criminal, or whether she's good. But I felt like she spent a lot of Season 1 as somebody with good in her heart, as somebody who was more good than bad. And it seemed like she just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, joined Fish Mooney's gang at the end of the last season, and now she's just with Penguin. It's like, okay, there's no real direction for Selina Kyle right now, but we'll see where she goes from here. There's a quick scene with Edward Nygma. The last time we saw him, he viciously killed somebody for Mrs. Kringle, and he covered it up successfully, I guess, because he's still at the station. And right after he quickly talks to Gordon, he starts talking to himself in the mirror. And the mirror version of him is a lot more confident, a lot more probably the one who is doing the killing. And he's crazy. He's lost his mind. That's pretty obvious. I don't know how much I like or I'm gonna like this version of Riddler, because it does seem like it's more like the Jim Carrey one. And as much as I like the Jim Carrey Riddler, I do want to see a different Riddler at this point. I want to see a Riddler who is... I get that he's crazy, I get that he's obsessive, but the split personality thing, I don't know, I just never really thought of the Riddler to be like that. I thought that he was a little bit more in control, or just more control of his sanity. Who knows? Maybe we'll go in an interesting direction. We'll find out. let's talk about the fact that Gordon was demoted from a detective to an officer, or not even really an officer. I mean, they said that he's directing traffic, like on the street. Wow. Commissioner Loeb, that's a big fuck you to Gordon, I guess. And not only that, Bullock quit. He said, fuck that, I'm not doing this. He quit. He's now like a bartender. Okay, I certainly wasn't expecting that. And right at the beginning, Gordon gets stripped of his badge. Damn. This was all happening in the first like 10 minutes or so, and I was very curious on where they were going to go with this until Gordon asked for Penguin's help. He says, hey, you owe me a favor. Penguin says, actually, not really, but if I do this for you, you have to do this for me. And that's where he makes Gordon go and collect money for him. And I like that Gordon wasn't quick to do it, but he didn't, like, he acted like he dismissed it, but then he went and talked to Bullock at the bar, and he almost just needed advice. He was drinking, so he was a little bit more loose. Like, Ben McKingsley in this episode was great. This is the best I think I've seen him act as Gordon throughout the whole series, was in this one episode. A lot more loose, a lot more different emotions, and a lot more edgy. And I think I like that, especially when you see him go off and well, first, after he talks to Bullock, he talks to Bruce. And the way Bruce was talking to him, the advice that Bruce gave him almost of sort of saying, like, I get it. Your morals and your high standards prevent you from doing something that you think is wrong and crooked. But maybe at the end of the day, the ends justify the means. And having to break a little laws or break a little of your own morale is worth it. And it's interesting to see Bruce at this age already have that line of thinking, because Batman will do some questionable things to get what he wants. I mean, he'll never kill, but it's definitely in a similar direction. Now, when Gordon does go after this money, he does end up killing this guy. And that was surprising. I mean, this is our main character who, in some ways, we do look at him as Batman, in some senses. But when you see him kill this guy, that's all out the window. He's a different character. He's a different guy, definitely, than who he was in Season 1. And at least he was a little shaken up about it. You see him with Leslie Tompkins, who they've been steadily dating still. That's very nice to see. I very much like Leslie Tompkins. I like this actress that plays her so much better than Barbara as far as a love interest. She's just likable. She's a better actress. She's more believable as a caring girlfriend. And then that's when Barbara, I guess let's talk about Barbara. Because at the very beginning, we see Barbara checking into Arkham. The fact that she strolled in there with her high heels and nice outfit and sunglasses, I'm like, really? I mean, didn't she get arrested at the end of the last episode? So I guess they just let her come in at a later date, and that's how she showed up. And she's basically already easily running the place. At least there's people who are taking interest in her. Even Jerome talks to her. Jerome is, for all intents and purposes, the Joker. He's the Joker, I guess, unless there's a swerve at some point where he gets killed, and it's like, oh, the guy who we thought was the Joker this whole time isn't the Joker. They could do that, but as of right now, I'm just going to assume that he's the Joker. I don't dislike this actor. I don't think he's a bad actor. I think if I'm going to think of what a young Joker would be like, I guess this is it. He pulls that off. He has the mannerisms. I just don't care for a teenage Joker. I don't give a fuck about a teenage Joker. And not as if I don't care, I just don't want to see it. I don't want to see the origins of the Joker, or at least, I don't know, it's just the Joker has always been more interesting when either you don't know his origin, or if you don't know at least too much about his origin. And him being this young, I think we are finding out too much about the Joker. It takes away that mystique. Barbara calls Jim randomly. She gets a phone because of Ronan Sionis, I guess. And she gets a phone and she calls him, which was very awkward because she's trying to say that Leslie Tompkins is crazy and made it all up. I'm glad Jim didn't even budge for a second about believing her. And then she calls the house and leaves a message where she's just batshit crazy and says she wants to watch Leslie die a slow, painful death. And you know what? As much as I hated Barbara in season 1, as much as I shitted on her as a character and hated her acting, I kind of... What am I going to say right now? I kind of liked her in this episode. I like her as a villain. I like her as crazy. She's so much better. She's so much more believable as this crazy woman. And now that they've all broken out, I'm curious to see where this goes. They all broke out courtesy of Theo Gallivan and his sister Tabitha. They broke them out of Arkham. They're going to use them to take over the city, I guess. So we'll see what happens with that. And last but not least, because of Gordon's deal with the Penguin, and they went and Commissioner Loeb stepped down. He retired. And now Sarah Essen, who I didn't even realize all of season 1 that was Sarah Essen. I had no idea. Sarah Essen, for anyone who doesn't know, in the comic books, Jim Gordon eventually cheats on his wife with Sarah Essen and then marries her at some point. So I don't think that's what they're going for on this show. I just think they wanted to include the character in some way, maybe a quick callback or something to the comic books. But still, now she's the commissioner, and Gordon is back. Let's see where he goes from here. Let's see if he goes down a darker path, or let's see if he can begin to clean up the police department. I doubt it, but if Gordon is going to go on a dark path, I welcome it. I think this could be very interesting. I mean, I don't want to see him become a villain, of course, but I think this could be interesting for his character to go down a slippery slope where maybe he blurs the lines so much that he becomes what he's fighting against, and it's an interesting breaking point. So far, so good. First episode of season 2. I'm with it. I'm totally with it. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you saw episode 1 of season 2, Rise of the Villains. What did you think? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!